Alrighty, boys and girls, welcome to Tone on a Budget. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about that puppy right back there. The ASM, or Ashen Sound Machine, Hydrasynth. Right out of the gate, I'm just going to tell you, I like the synth. I like it a lot. Okay? I've got three things to complain about it. One of them is it's not a functional complaint, but I'll get into that in a minute. I want to give you a little bit of history of Ashen Sound Machine and the Hydrasynth. The parent company of ASM is a company called Medeli that was founded in 1983 by a guy in China when he realized, he was an electrical engineer, and he realized that it was very cost prohibitive for people in China to get the other name brand keyboards and instruments that we here in the United States and in Europe and other places around the world have access to, because of how closed off the Chinese government is, and they don't. At the time, they weren't bringing in a whole lot of import stuff from other countries, especially like the United States and Japan, which is where a lot of synthesizers back then were made. Roland, Yamaha, there were a lot of synthesizers that were coming out of, and keyboards coming out of Japan. China and Japan just have not gotten along ever. So this guy decided that he was going to form a company and make instruments, digital instruments, that were affordable to the people in China. So he formed Medeli and founded the company in 1983. And since then, that company has been making keyboards, digital pianos, and electronic drum sets, which some of them are on par with the Roland stuff. Okay. 5 years ago, in 2019, ASM was formed. And let me see, I got to look this up. I got to look up the names. But they wanted to build synthesizers. And they tapped a couple of different people to come in and help with this. Okay, yeah, here we go. That's not the one I wanted. Come on, there it is. Okay, here's the information I'm looking for. They're Hong Kong based. They tapped Glenn Darcy, who was the product manager at Akai and Arturia. Okay, if you're into synthesizers and keyboards, you know both those names. I have a couple of Arturia MIDI controllers here. I've had a few Arturia synthesizers. I'm not real crazy about them. I didn't keep them, but I do like. I have one. It's what is it called? The Keylab MK2, which is a professional level 61 key MIDI controller. You could tour with the thing. It's solid as a rock. It's made out of metal, and it's a really great controller. That thing I'll keep forever. Akai, they still make synthesizers to this day, and they tapped a few other people to come in and help with coming up with a really robust, affordable, professional synthesizer. Okay, and they came up with the Hydrasynth. Okay, that being said, all right, that's the history. My gripes about it. I'm going to start with the gripes. I like the synth overall. The synth is great. I think it's an awesome machine instrument, but there are a few things that I don't like about it. And the first thing is cosmetic, and that's these things. Okay, these are the end panels that come from the factory. Huge chunks of aluminum. They're actually kind of heavy. They add some weight to the instrument. I don't like the way they look. They reminded me of the, if you think back, they reminded me of the Roland Jupiter 8 and the Roland Jupiter 80. In fact, here's a pic of one of those, both of those actually. Okay, so I said, "Oh no, this is." I did not like this look. To me, it looked hideous. Okay, so what I did was I said, there has to be another option. Somebody's got to be making something that I could put in place of these." And what I found was on Reverb.com. I found someone who has an online shop there called Noisy Hardwood, who makes end panels for all kinds of instruments and keyboards and modules and stuff. And this is them right here. They're right here in the U.S. in the lovely Atlanta, Georgia. And I contacted the guy and I asked him. I said, "Do you have anything pre-made for the Hydrasynth?" And he told me, "No, I don't pre-manufacture anything. Everything is done custom by order." I said, "Okay, I'll go through Reverb and I'll place the order for the Hydrasynth walnut end panels." All right. I got to tell you, the prices are really nice. Um, he could probably charge more for what he's given you, but he's kept the prices down and affordable, and he makes a nice product. You can see, you can see here that I've got the end panels installed on it now. But here, I'll show you some pictures I took of the synth all the way around so that you can see the panels. Yeah, I contacted the guy and I placed the order. It took him 2 weeks and now get this, all right? He's custom cutting these, all right? Drilling them, staining them, and finishing them, okay? I had zero problems with fitment. The drill holes are in the exact positions they needed to be. They're countersunk for the screws. You can use with these. I don't know about other panels for other synths, but with the Hydrasynth, you use the original factory screws. Okay, then it's perfect. I mean, even down to you can see there's a little just a little cut here, a little shave here. It's right there. He got it down to the very finest detail in the cuts, and he rounded the edges around the cuts. Fantastic work, and he's using beautiful wood. This is stained mahogany, or not mahogany, walnut. I think they look gorgeous on the thing. They look a lot better than these. I mean, I'm sorry, man, these are hideous, and they add weight. So that's my one gripe, but it was easily fixed. I found a guy that actually custom makes the panels and sells them at a reasonable price. Wow. And on Reverb. Easy peasy. And Noisy Hardwood responds Um, I had a couple of communications with him. One of the communications, he got back to me almost immediately. The other communication I had with him, it took him a couple hours, and he got back to me. And that was after I was I messaged him asking for an update, and he said, "Hey, they're done. They're drying. They should ship out tomorrow." And sure enough, they did. And I had it in 2 days after from the time he shipped. And the price for these, the wood ends for this scent, the shipping is included in the price. So I mean, you're getting a very good deal, and you're getting bang for your buck because the guy's using quality wood, and he's doing a really good job of cutting it. So enough on that. Let's get back to the Hydrasynth. Okay, my next gripe. All right, which it's minor, but this is a digital synthesizer. Okay, um, I've had digital synthesizers with 128 voices. I've had some of the smaller units, 37 key, that were 64 voices. It's digital. It's nothing to put a lot of voices in because it's all just it's processor based. It's chips. Okay, but this only has 8 voices. They do manufacture another model. This is the original model. Okay, they actually make 4 products. They make this one. They make the deluxe, which is a 73 key version, which is a 16 voice and is basically 2 of these. They make a little mini key 37 key. It's called an Explorer, Hydrasynth Explorer, and they make a Hydrasynth desktop module. Okay, all of them have the same engine. It's just the Explorer, the module, and the original Hydrasynth, which is this one, which they announced this at the 2020 NAMM is when they announced this synth. So it's only been out for 4 years. Yeah, they've all got 8 voices, and then the Hydrasynth Deluxe has 16 voices. Okay, so that's my second gripe. Is it's like, come on, it's digital. Why couldn't you just give us more voices? But I think it's because they were trying to stay with the whole analog feel. The oscillators are analog emulating oscillators, and it does get a fairly analog sound out of it. It's a nice sounding synth. And I'll more on that later. My third gripe, the last one, is there's no sequencer. It's not a deal breaker, but with a synth that has the bells and whistles that this thing does have, how much would it have taken to put in a sequencer? And a 64 step sequencer. It's digital. You can do anything you want with it. It's programmable. A lot of this is just programming. It's got an operating system, and it does things based on what the operating system's programmed to do and the chip hardware that's in it. So those are my 3 gripes: the end panels, the limited polyphony, and the lack of a sequencer are really my only issues with the synthesizer. Other than that, I've got nothing but good things to say about this instrument. And I'm going to get into all of that here momentarily. So at this point, you could turn the video off, and you can walk away and say, "Yeah, this guy said it's a good synth. We should buy it." Okay, if you're looking for a very versatile digital synthesizer, yeah, take a look at this thing. But I'm going to get a little more in depth into it. This is not going to be a sound bank demo, or this is how you do this and this is how you do that. This is all going to be very general, just to walk through the instrument. There will be some demonstrations of sounds that it's capable of making, but it's basically going to explain what you get for your money and what kind of quality this thing is manufactured with. So let's get into it. Okay, the ASM Hydrasynth. First things first, quality. Is this thing a quality instrument? I have to say, yes. All metal construction, with the exception of these lovely wooden side panels that I installed. The pitch and mod wheels move smoothly. The knobs are solid, but they spin freely. Not too loose. They've got just the right amount of resistance, I think. The buttons are solid, and I mean, they work immediately. The encoder's a little wobbly. This is what you'll use to switch banks and roll through the presets. It's got it. You can connect it to other. It gets sort of modular here. You've got inputs and outputs where you can connect to other devices. You can go with like a Eurorack deal and plug this thing into it and control other devices or have other devices controlling it. It has modulation outputs, mod 1, mod 2. I'm sorry, that's an inputs. And then for CV and gate outputs, it's got pitch, gate, modulation 1, modulation 2, and it's got a clock output too. So you can use this clock to control other devices using CV, using control voltage. So that's actually pretty cool for a digital synth to be able to do that. And on the back panel, we have we've got your main outputs, left and right stereo. Left is mono. We have a 2 pedal connectors, one for sustain and one for expression. We have MIDI through, out, and in. We have USB, and then the power. Oh, and actually, I should say my last gripe, which is also a minor gripe. The power supply is just a 12-volt cube instead of having a proper 110-volt AC or whatever it is in your country. With the transformer built into the machine and having a good solid cable that goes to an electrical outlet. This thing has the little cord and the little cube like a effects pedal. Okay, this is I'm gonna play the first thing here to demonstrate a couple of things. This is a patch that I manipulated. It was an original patch that was on here from the factory, actually at Bank 1, and I made some changes to it to be able to play a Gary Newman song. Very nice, lush sounding. The keyboard feels wonderful. It is polyphonic, aftertouch, and velocity sensitive. Now let me knock it down an octave. That is a low C. this thing does produce warm tone. It's got some girth. You know, if you've got the right speakers, you're gonna shake some walls and rattle some windows with this instrument. All right, I'm gonna take this to. I also should tell you, this instrument has 1,024 preset positions in banks of 128. There's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. The first 5 are factory presets. Okay, the first 5 banks. And then the last 3 are empty, just set to init sounds. You know, so you just got a basic wave that you can go and start to create whatever you want. And this is where we have fun, okay? You've got your master volume here. You have all of these knobs, all 8 of these knobs are specifically, and all of these buttons, 4 buttons down here, they're all specifically for the arpeggiator. This is all part of the ARP control, which is like, wow. And it's all right here. It's all right in front of you. You don't have to do any menu diving or anything. It's all right here. Okay? Your main system controls are here. Browse, save, system setup, init. You can go to any preset on any preset bank and position, and you can initialize a basic tone and then go and start manipulating. Random I haven't touched. I don't know what that does. Shift allows you to do a lot of different things. You can hold down the shift key and hit different buttons and it does different stuff. You'll have to read the manual for that. I'm not going to get into that. Home will always take you back to the main menu, which is, your main menu is always going to be the presets, the preset that you're on specifically. Right now I'm on another preset that I came up with for my band covers some Rush, and we do Closer to the Heart. So I would play this. Whoops. I gotta octave that up. This will be better. Very nice. You hear the fade out. It's not steppy. It doesn't just cut off. It fades really smoothly. The sound quality of this synth is great. The stereo effects on this synth is great. Let me see here. Let me go to another one. Yeah, here's one that is this will demonstrate what I want to do. Okay, I'm going to work to cut off the resonance, and let me get to this too. This thing has, it's crazy. You've got 3 oscillators per voice. You have a mutant button here, 4 mutant buttons, which changes, it mutates the sound. Okay, then here you have 5 envelopes. You've got 2 filters. You've got the amp. You've got your effects, delay, reverb, and then you've got 5 LFOs. So 3 oscillators, 5 envelopes, 5 LFOs, 2 filters. Wow. Okay, plus your built-in effects, which you got all kinds of stuff on the effects that you can start menu diving to get to. But the way this works is if I hit, when I hit a note, I don't think you can see that, but when you hit the note, the modules that are being used light up here. This is your envelopes. It shows me what envelopes are being used when I hit the note. Okay, I can hit, I'm not going to bother doing it because you can't see it, but I can hit one of these buttons, and then all the parameters to control, say this envelope 5, will come up right here. And I can control it from these 8 knobs. And I can turn it off and on from these 8 buttons. Okay? So everything is very intuitive. The workflow is beautiful. It all goes this way, which is the way it's supposed to. If you're doing subtractive synthesis on an analog synthesizer like the Moog over here, everything goes from left to right. With the end of it being your amp. Okay, and that's what you've got here. And you've got the filter controls here. You've got filter 1, filter 2. You've got filter 1, filter 2 controls here. You've got the amp control here. And everything you need is all right here. And it's all basically, there's not much menu diving in this. It's all right here. Just like an analog synthesizer, but with a few twists with the buttons and stuff. There's a lot of, because it's digital. It's programmed. But check this out. I want to demonstrate how smoothly, if you manipulate the cutoff or resonance, how smoothly it changes. It's not steppy. Not steppy at all. It's very smooth. Also, this little screen right here, when you're playing a note, it shows you the wave. It's like a little oscilloscope, and it shows you the wave. So, yeah, that's very good. Now let me do this. Let me turn on the ARP. Let me hit latch. You can manipulate all of the settings of the arpeggiator while it's running. And it's cool. It's got you can control the gate on the ARP, and it has a chance knob, which I think it does randomization, is what I believe that does. You've got tempo, ratchet, chance and gate, mode, and what the mode does is the mode controls what type of movement it has. Up and down, up, down, down, up, order, random, chord, phase, and I think, I'm going to put it to random. And I can choose the octave, I can choose the amount of divisions, and I can choose the swing. So let's put the latch back on. Yeah. Manipulating the chance knob alters the randomization when you set it to random. Yeah, it's a very, very cool synth. And here's another thing. This I really dig this. This is called Hydra Drawbar, and this was a synth that I found. I found the preset online. Actually, I downloaded a bunch of presets. I filled all 124 banks. Do you hear? I hope you're listening on headphones, or you've at least got some decent speakers, because there's some stereo effect going on here. Really cool. Here, this is a mono setting for a 70s lead. more bells. See, now here, let's see. Oh, I touched the rhythm. The ribbon. This thing has a ribbon modulator, which I think is super cool. That's a really neat addition. And I mean, on some of the presets, or if you're doing your own presets, you can configure it to actually just play the rhythm or the ribbon. Very cool. Let's see. It's a very nice sounding instrument. Now, as you can see, I have my Mojo pedals set up here. I am connected to the MIDI in, so I can control this synth from the controller. Now, I will use this because I'm primarily a bass player, and I need to be able to get my sounds while I'm playing bass, because there's not another synthesist. We've got a keyboard player, but she does piano. She doesn't really play anything else, and she has an 88 key digital piano that she plays, and I handle all of the synthesizer stuff. So sometimes I need to be able to, grab notes while I'm playing my bass. So I use the pedals. And it works flawlessly. There's no problems with the MIDI connections, choosing channels and stuff. Everything you can do, right here on the top. Now, let's get into the next part of it. I want to talk about, it comes with a librarian/editor, which is fantastic. They did a really good job. And I had no problems with integration. I installed the software, I installed the driver, I plugged the thing in, and I fired it up, and it just worked. Everything works. And like the synth itself is laid out very intuitively, the librarian and the editor are also very intuitive. So let's get into that. I'm going to change cameras here, and we'll take a look at the librarian/editor. Okie dokie. Here is the manager/editor. You can import different presets that you'll have here. Let's see. I go there. This button is what's on the computer, and you come over here and hit this button, and this shows you what's on the synthesizer. I can go here, and you can see I've got all these different sound packs that I downloaded and imported into here. Yeah, this is very cool. You can create banks and save them on the computer for import to the synth later. You can rename, you can cut, copy, paste, delete. You can create multi-banks or individuals. You can decide the mode, whether it's single or multi. You can also, let's see, what else? Yeah. Select MIDI device, MIDI input, Hydrasynth keyboard. So I think because I've got the cameras going, it's not connecting to the Hydrasynth. That's one of the glitchy things with, I've seen this with a lot of synthesizers. Being paired with other USB devices like cameras and stuff tends to mess with the way it connects. But without the camera connected, I have no problem with connecting the synthesizer to the PC and being able to just come in here and work with this stuff. Okay, so that's it. This is what the editor librarian looks like. This is, it's called the Hydrasynth Manager. It's a nice package. I have to say, I'm really happy with the synth. I don't have any major complaints with it. One of the complaints that I had was cosmetic, and it was easily rectified by just replacing the end panels. And now, to my eye, the instrument looks much better. Looks much more like a old school kind of synth keyboard with the wood end panels. It sounds nice. It plays nice. They manufacture their own key beds. It's a proprietary key bed, and it's a unique key bed in that it's not only poly aftertouch, it's also velocity sensitive. So yeah, all in all, I gotta say, I like the Hydrasynth. I like it a lot, and I think I'll be keeping it for a long time. I think this will be part of my synthesizer arsenal for years to come, as long as it continues to run. If it doesn't, y'all will hear about it because I'll be out here griping that this thing up and died on me or whatever it does. But I'm hoping that's never the case, that it just continues to function and play and, serve its purpose for many, many moons. All right, guys, that's it. I want to thank you for watching Tone on a Budget. As always, leave your comments below. I respond to everybody, and anybody who wants to do jerk comments, they get deleted and blocked. So, don't be a jerk. Be cool. Let's talk about this stuff. I love talking about this stuff. You have any questions, feel free to ask. If I have an answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't, I'll direct you to where you can get it, or I'll go find it myself. So, have a good day. God bless. Hope this was helpful. Bye.